There are tons of business podcasts to choose from, but only one has the stamp of approval. Kristin Stampini is South Florida's leading real estate entrepreneur and your trusted source for everything real estate.
I would like to welcome our listeners and thank you for joining us today for an episode of our podcast, The Stamp of Approval. I'm Kristin Stampini, co-founder of the Stampini team with RE/MAX in Boca Raton, Florida. I'm also a certified real estate coach with Craig Proctor and the owner of Global Virtual Assistants. So the Stamp of Approval podcast was launched to share and educate other realtors, consumers, and other business owners across North America by sharing value and content to our listeners in each and every episode. I share my experiences, triumphs and failures, strengths, and throughout my entire life with the hope of the audience being able to expand their knowledge on everything real estate, business, sales, and mindset oriented. You know, we recently also launched Stamp TV on YouTube, where I share weekly real estate tips, so please join us there. If you like our podcast, we just ask that you please share it with others that would be interested as well. So today I have my friend Barb Schlinker, who I've known for years and years. Actually, she was the first one that I've ever seen to do a podcast back in the day many years ago. So Barb has been a real estate broker since 1996 in Colorado Springs area. Barb is a Navy veteran and has a company that is 100% veteran owned. She sells hundreds of homes every year and is known for Barb has the buyers. And she also offers a guaranteed sale. So your home sold guaranteed or Barb will buy it. So Barb has her own radio show, the Barb Schlinker Real Estate Radio Show, that airs every Sunday at 4 p.m. on AM 740 KVOR in the Colorado Springs. So Barb employs 6 administrative staff, 3 lead coordinators, and also has 7 real estate agents on her team. Barb is ranked number 3 in Colorado Springs for transactions, so the number of sales that she does, and number 7 in the entire state of Colorado. Wow. And trust me, I've watched Barb grow throughout the years, and she's just amazing. So welcome, Barb.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me, Kristin. This is an honor.
Oh, and it's such an honor to have you. So what we're going to be talking about today is actually pricing your home to sell. And in this changing market that we're starting in, are you seeing it too, Barb, in Colorado?
Well, we're still pretty hot here, but it is starting to get a little bit softer, at least than it was last year.
Yeah. So so let's dive right into pricing your home to sell. So where do we start?
Well, the first thing I want to hit on basically is how to get ready. That's probably the number one question I get from sellers is how do I get my house ready for sale? They have no idea. And so I wanted to first hit on the things that buyers really dislike, which a lot of real estate agents probably know when they're out there showing properties. But probably top on the list that will get your home eliminated from the showing is really bright, dramatic colors. There's a few colors that are particularly distasteful for many buyers because it changes hue online, like red and yellow. Those are some of the least favorite colors in a home. But any kind of drama, like we're in Colorado, so we have the Broncos. A lot of people paint rooms Bronco orange, which is tough to get past for a buyer.
Yeah.
The other thing the buyers really hate, and I'm not really sure why, they don't like popcorn ceilings. So we still have a lot of houses here with that. Do you have that?
Yeah,
there
we
in
do
your
too.
market?
And we have the same problem here. Buyers don't like the popcorn ceilings here as well. And actually it's tough to get it off.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is.
And then, I've been in the business for a while and I've seen a lot of colors and styles go in and out of style, but, so this could change next week. But right now, the brass colored light fixtures and hardware are less desirable, say, than the oil rub bronze or satin nickel. Have you seen that in your market?
Yeah, same thing here.
Yeah, we actually went to a kitchen store when we were in California, and the gold finish is coming back, but it has a little bit darker, more antique sheen to it. So it's one of those trends that changes all the time. But right now, buyers are like, I have to update. The other thing that's kind of not so pretty are bathroom, those vanity Hollywood looking lights, with about 7 light bulbs.
Yeah.
It's too bright, first of all. And second of all, so those are easy, inexpensive. The light fixtures and hardware, relatively easy and inexpensive to change out. When my brother sold his home, he had the brass hardware, and he went to Home Depot and got some Rust-Oleum and sprayed it that oil rub bronze color. And we set a new high price for the neighborhood just by doing little things like that.
And I don't think a lot of sellers really realize some of just little things that they do make such a difference, right?
Oh, yeah. The other thing that I don't know if they do this in your market, Kristin, but in our market, the builders do this because it's inexpensive. They put carpet in the bathrooms.
Really?
Do
No,
they do
I
that
don't
there?
see that here. Oh.
Most people don't like that.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't like
so-
that because it gets wet,
Yeah.
right?
It gets wet or it gets stuff dropped on it. It's just not a good product for that space. The other big turnoff, which a lot of people are kind of unaware of, are strong or bad odors, and sometimes they can't smell it. I was recently in a house on a horse property, and she could not smell this kind of weird smell in her house, and I figured out what it was. Her dogs were tracking in horse manure into her house.
Oh, yeah.
And she couldn't smell it because she lived there. Another thing that people think is they can go to the grocery store and buy those, plug-ins that have the vanilla flavor or whatever. And those are worse because the buyer assumes that you're covering up some kind of odor by putting those in. And they're very strong, and some people are actually allergic to them. So you don't want to do candles or plug-ins or anything like that. You're better off just having it fresh and clean. And if you want to put an odor in, bake some cookies. That works really well.
And those are such good points that you said, especially like we don't have any animals because Mark is allergic to animal, to cats and dogs or whatever, like very allergic. So we don't have any. And when I walk in, and when he does too, walk into a home and they have animals, so many of them, it's such a strong odor, but because they live there, they don't recognize it. Okay.
Yeah,
so I agree with that
100%.
And then, what was the other thing that you said?
The fragrances.
Yeah, the fragrances. So my mom she's allergic to, like, she can't, anything strong smelled, she can't. And so she would literally walk out of the house if that were in there because it would, because she's allergic to it. It makes her start sneezing and coughing and such.
Yeah, my sister-in-law is that way too. And she actually will go into anaphylactic shock from some of these strong odors. So when I was showing her houses, I had to go in and do the recon ahead of her looking at the house to make sure it didn't have any candles or things like that.
Yeah, so that's very interesting that people just don't think about it, right? Because it doesn't bother.
They think it's great.
That's right.
And then our biggest nemesis, and we actually invest in this to help our sellers get ready for sale, is to deal with clutter. Buyers don't see it, or home sellers don't really see it. The way they normally live, most people have some clutter, unless you're unusual.
That's right.
And I even in my own house, we had a couple of big fires here a number of years ago, and one of them was kind of bearing down on our house. And somebody suggested, hey, why don't you go take pictures of all your stuff, and that way, if it does burn down, you've got something for the insurance company, which is kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
So I took the pictures, and then after the fire didn't get to us, so we came back to our house, and then I looked at the photos, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have clutter too. So you can see it in the photos, but you can't see it if you're living with it.
That's
so
right.
we actually bring in stagers and help our clients get the home picture ready. And it's quite a process. A lot of people hold on to their stuff. Plus, they don't normally live like that with, rugs picked up and everything off the counters. It takes a little process to get them used to it.
So how do you, for people out there that have that clutter, what do you recommend to them? Should they do with the stuff?
We actually have a whole list of staging tips that we offer our clients, just general staging tips, like clean, try to get rid of things that you don't need, which is very hard for people. But the best way to do it is just one room at a time. Because if you look at the whole house, it's kind of overwhelming. But if you can just focus on one room at a time, you can probably get through it fairly quickly. One of her best tips that she gives my stager is she says for closets, and we don't normally take pictures of closets or garages or things like that, but buyers will look at those spaces because they want to know what size it is. So she'll recommend that we actually, on the floors of closets, get everything off the floor and maybe go buy those Walmart clear boxes for your shoes and just put them up high. It actually makes the closet look bigger by doing that.
That's a great tip. So we do the same thing. So we pay for a stager to go and give tips of what to do, what they can do for their home to sell for more money. So it's just, different realtors do different things. And I think, people like you and I, we, go above and beyond to make sure that we sell their homes fast and for top dollar, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's what, we want to get the most amount of money. And most sellers are fully on board with it.
Yeah.
The clutter is probably the biggest problem because, you don't have a home on the market the same way you live on it.
That's right.
It's a different thing. So clutter is the biggest challenge. And my stager's really good at saying, okay, pack that away. You're not going to use it anyway. You're moving anyway. She tries to get them mentally ready for the move by saying it's no longer a home, it's a house. So get ready to sell the house.
Right. And depersonalizing as well, right? Yeah. With the decluttering.
Yeah. And just little things like, fix broken stuff. Most buyers, they don't want to do any work, right? They want to buy their house, move in, drop their stuff, and get on with their lives.
Well, because they've already had to pack up somewhere else, right?
Exactly. And they, a lot of them don't have financial resources to do, to take care of what I call deferred maintenance, although I don't like to use that word because it kind of offends people, but things like dirty carpet. They walk in the door and go, oh, I'm going to have to replace this, if it can't be cleaned. Or little things like paint. So starting with the outside's really, really huge because the typical behavior of a buyer is they start their search online, okay? You have to get the love word with the online pictures. So we invest a lot of our marketing dollars into making sure the online presentation, we pass that test. The buyer still wants to come see the house. Then step 2, they leave their fuzzy bunny slippers to ride the neighborhoods. This is all before they talk to a real estate agent.
Okay? Yeah, that's right.
Then they get in front of the house. If they like what they see, they're going to go to the next step, which could be a Google search or a phone call to the agent, one or the other.
That's right. So and you're exactly right. The curb appeal is everything when somebody's driving by the house.
If they don't like the inside, I don't care if the outside's made of gold or inside's made of gold or completely updated. If they don't like the outside, you can't get them through the door. So it's really, really important to invest just a little bit. We struggle in our market, here we are, the end of May. Just a few days ago, or yesterday, we had this monster snowstorm, and I actually didn't make it home from a listing appointment.
Are you kidding me? The end of May, and you guys had snow?
Oh, yeah. We had about a foot of snow, and people were sliding all over the place, and I ended up in a hotel that night after my appointment.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's a little bit of a struggle for us through the winter to make the outside look good because our lawns go dormant in the wintertime. And then the very short summer that we have, it's nice and green. So what do you do in the interim? So typically I tell them, update your mulch beds, put fake flowers outside, pick a warm day because we do have warmer days even in the winter, and get the front door painted. Make sure the trim is fresh. Little things like that to at least make them think that if the outside looks good, they're probably also taking care of the inside.
That's right. That's an excellent point. Because if they see that all this stuff is, trash or, whatever, I mean, it's cluttered and everything else, they think, okay, over the years, because I do the same thing. I think, wow, I wonder how this is maintained. Like if I go into a house, like we were trying to buy another place in Tennessee, and when we had already put the offer in and everything, we went there, we're like, oh my God, this is so bad. It's so dirty.
Really?
And then what happened, I'll tell you what, the inspection was unbelievable, all the things that were wrong. Yep. Wow. So, so many points that you're saying right there is good. And how long, how much do you usually say somebody's going to, probably invest in their home to make it, like you said, a house, depersonalizing it, decluttering it, kind of, touching up some things, making it look better, doing light staging and things like that. What, a few $1,000s to get back how much? What is the percent that they're going to get back just from making it look so appealing?
I'm glad you asked that question because you and I both used to list bank-owned homes during the meltdown.
That's right.
And I remember one time an asset manager. So these are basically people that handle bank-owned homes, and they send us multiple listings. And they do this all the time. They deal with distressed properties that have distressed issues. And one of the things he said to me, which has really stuck in my head, he goes, if there is something that needs to be repaired, you need to make an adjustment in your opinion of value of at least 4 times what it costs to do the repair. So that's what a buyer's going to do.
Yeah.
They're going to say, oh, I got to put in carpet. The carpet may cost $3,000, but if they make an offer, which is a big if, their offer is going to come in exponentially more than the cost of that repair. So you don't have to spend a fortune to update it, and it does depend on the price range. Like if you're in a higher price range,
right.
Yeah, they're going to expect granite and nice appliances. But if you're in a lower price range, especially in the hotter markets, it might just be a few little things to make it look fresh. Putting nice hardware on the kitchen doors.
That's right.
In the cabinets. It doesn't have to be extraordinary. We just had an open house and a huge bidding war on one that it didn't have granite. It had white appliances, but it had nice flooring. It was move-in ready, pretty trim, and it was in good move-in ready condition. So it really depends on the price, on how much they spend. But sometimes it's not very much. So.
Well, it's so true, because like in not in in a lower price point, they're looking for things that they don't have to do, and they say, oh, over time I can do the kitchen, over time I can do the bathroom, Right. So they're and every single time they look at something, like you said, that's $5,000, that's $5,000, that's $5,000. Where it would be, $25,000, where actually it would only cost maybe $3,000 or $4,000. Now they've already automatically taken $25,000 off the price, right?
Yeah, exactly. Plus, a lot of them just don't have the cash to do it.
That's right, because they're putting it in the down payment and closing costs.
Right. So that it would deter them from even making an offer.
That's right. So then what do you do after you have the house prep for sale? What's your next step?
Once we're ready for pictures, then the marketing really kicks in. We try to do some drone shots on the outside if it looks like a good drone property. And then we'll start taking the pictures. One of the latest things that I added was doing video. I call them Vanna White walkthroughs. They're really not. But because right now my competitors are not doing video. And I'm finding, and that's a whole nother topic that we'll talk about, that all these big box brokerages are commanding page 1 of Google. So a lot of agents think that when they put a house in the MLS, that's marketing, and it's really not. And what's going on right now is all these big giant firms are commanding page 1 of Google for any property that gets listed. So as an example, if you're a buyer, and there's a gazillion searches out there, most of them are driven from the MLS. So some go to Zillow, Realtor, whatever. And they see a house that they're interested in, they will drive by and they'll Google it. Okay, this is before they talk to a real estate agent. So when they Google it, whoever comes up on page 1 of Google wins. Yeah. And I was finding that I'm not on page 1 of Google for my own listings. Yeah. I wasn't even on page 10.
Well, you did such an amazing training yesterday on just this.
You.
Seriously, you did on just what you're talking about right here. And I just want to touch on, because what makes us different? What makes you different when a seller meets with you compared to your average local agent? Number one, you talked about obviously getting your house prepared to sell, to sell it fast and for top dollar, and just bringing in a stager to help that, which 99% of the realtors absolutely don't do that, right? And now we're talking about marketing, taking pictures, taking videos, which again, 99% of the realtors don't do any videos or anything else. Then you're actually talking about marketing and figuring out, like what you just said, that your listing wasn't even coming up on the first page when you're listing it. So that's not good for the sellers. So talk about what you do and how you market differently, and how not all realtors are the same, right?
No, not at all. And you've seen the iPhone pictures online. Many of them are lazy, and they think, hey, I can just take my iPhone, take some happy snaps, stick it in the MLS, and it's going to sell. And while that may be true on occasion, when you start getting competitive, which in many markets right now, they are getting competitive, your listing has to be the one that the buyers want to see.
That's right.
But I don't abdicate my my marketing to the MLS just because, to me, it's not enough. One of my big unique selling propositions and what I'm known for in this town because of my marketing is Barb has the buyers. So that drives a lot of my marketing, how I get people to contact us, what happens when they contact us about a house, what is their customer experience from there. And then we make really great offers to get with them, because if they don't like that house, we're going to go find them homes, even homes they can't find on the internet.
Yep. No.
So that's very unique. Most agents don't even talk about buyers. I would say 90% of them don't even do a presentation to a seller. They just show up with some comps and go, I think your house is worth this much. That's it.
And sellers don't even realize how important it is to hire the right agents that know how to market, that know how to get their home set up. And, the realtor, what most of them do is just go ahead and put it on the MLS and put signs and then try to sell it that way. Right?
Yeah. And the thing is, what's going on right now in a lot of markets is these big companies, these big, Wall Street firms are trying to replace us by offering to buy their homes. We've got HomeLight, we've got Zillow, we've got Open Door. Yeah. So they're basically saying, hey, Mr. Seller, take some pictures of your house, put it up on our website, and we'll guarantee that we'll buy it.
And you don't have to go through anything to do that. You don't have to fix it up. You don't have to do anything. And how much money are they losing by doing that? A lot.
A lot, because it's an investor, a lowball offer, plus they're charging anywhere from a 7 to a 10%, not a commission, a service fee.
That's right.
To get that service, minus the cost of any repairs.
Right.
So sellers are leaving thousands on the table by selling their homes to Wall Street. But, if that's all the agent offers is to take some pictures and stick it in the MLS, in my opinion, it's just not enough.
That's right. So just real quick, tell us exactly, what you do to price your home and put it on the market, what you're different, and what can, for the sellers that are listening, how are you different than, how are agents different in general? How are you or agents in general? How are they different? How can you, pick the right agent?
Right. Well, first of all, we talk about our team. Okay. We show them. We actually have over almost 21,000 people just on our little boutique company website that have given us their contact information that are looking for homes. So we take those people and we match our buyers with their house. That's step one. We're going to market to our own database of buyers right off the bat. And then a lot of people think that, they can just go to Zillow or Realtor.com and get an opinion of their home's value based on just an average of what homes have sold for around them. That's essentially what it is. It's just an average. And I recently had a sale where, and I just pulled up one that I have going on the market today. And the difference, this house is, we priced at $359. Zillow has it at $326, and Realtor has it at $354. So which is it, right? Yeah. How do you know?
That's right.
So I even had one recently that was really interesting. I competed against 3 other agents for this listing. Zillow had it at $348. 3 other agents said it was worth $350, but I could see that this was going to be a big demand property. It was remodeled. It was up on the hill. It had a bigger lot. It had spectacular Pikes Peak views. And so we priced at $424.9, and it sold for $427 the first weekend.
Wow.
That's a big difference from $350 to $427.
And why do you think that?
You know what? It was kind of funny because I have to quote this other agent that actually said these words to the seller. He goes, "You have an eagle that's surrounded by turkeys."
I love it.
I couldn't believe he said that. But anyway, I just think that a lot of people don't put a lot of thought into helping the seller price their home. And there's a lot of different things that go into it. First of all, the one key thing, and I'm not, criticizing anybody's level of experience or anything like that, but in our market, 74% of the agents have sold 0, 1, 2, or 3 homes in the past year.
That's right.
So they don't even know the market.
Well, they
right?
can't afford to do anything either, right?
Yeah, they can't afford to market. They're probably not. They're probably having trouble taking professional photos.
That's right.
So, there's a lot of factors that go into pricing. How much updating is done, whether or not they're well maintained, are they move-in ready, do they have a nice lot, which you can't control, but you can control condition and pricing.
That's right.
And for my team, it's a collaborative effort to decide on what the pricing is, help the seller come to a decision. I'd love to get millions of dollars for every house. I'd be really happy.
Of course. And we always, the seller, I think, sometimes thinks, okay, well, they just want to sell. Well, no, we want to get the highest price, right? We don't want to just sell it. But you have a specific marketing strategy for each of the homes that you sell?
Yeah, so we have a plan. It's a customized plan to their home, depending on what price range and where it is. But generally, the system is relatively consistent, where we start with making a price decision, then we help them get ready for photos, then we take photos and video and start marketing all over the place, social media. I prefer to hold it off from the MLS as long as possible, because we have kind of a hot market, I would say under 400,000 right now, and even the higher priced homes are getting bidding wars if they're nice in our market. But who knows how long it's going to stay that way. So we want to command the most amount of money. So the way we do that is to try and create a buzz and really start to pre-market the home before it activates on the MLS.
That's right. So how long do you try to do that for?
As long as I can get. Sometimes they push and want to go faster, but I prefer to have at least a week or 2 weeks prior to activating the listing. And then when we activate the listing, nobody gets in the door into the open house. It drives my colleagues crazy. They flop on the floor and complain. And it's like, sorry.
But
and we're doing this for the benefit of the buyer, though. It's not necessarily to get a bidding war. The biggest complaint we get in a hot market from buyers is that by the time I found out about it, it's already gone.
Yep, that's right.
So then we activate the listing. We hold them off to the open house. Everybody knows it's available. The open house is on a weekend so that they can schedule time to go see it. And then they all have a chance to throw their hat in the ring.
That's right. That's right. And it's getting the buzz. It's getting the exposure. It all helps the seller as well, right? Because you're getting the highest price, sold in the fastest time. I mean, there's so much strategy into listing and selling a home that sellers, I feel, that sometimes really don't realize how important it is to pick the right agent to sell the property.
No, and actually half the listings go to people that they know.
Yeah,
which I've talked to many sellers.
That's right. In our market locally, 55% of the homes on the market are sold by one person. 55% of the homes that are listed are sold by somebody, a realtor who does one sales a year. And so that's a person, obviously, that is either their relative or whatever. So I agree 100%. And that's not somebody who knows the market and is going to sell the best, the home for the most amount of money in the market.
No, not at all. They're not really helping their sellers command the most. And it makes it a very uncomfortable conversation at Thanksgiving dinner if it doesn't go well in that scenario.
That's right. That's right. So for the listeners out here, just give a couple tips to them on what should a seller look for? What should an agent do?
Well, I would start with being very organized when you're meeting with the seller, and just collaborate on pricing. That is a piece of marketing all by itself. Many of the websites are broken out where if a buyer goes on and says, okay, this is my budget, I want to spend no more than, say, $450,000 on a house. Many of the websites just will ask, do you want to search from 4 to 450 or 450 to 5?
That's right.
So if you're pricing your home above, if let's say this home is worth 430, right? But you want to throw in negotiating room and you price it at 455, that right buyer is never even going to see your house because it's not in this $50,000 increment.
That's right. That's right.
So so pricing is a piece of marketing. You want to make sure that you serve up your house with price where it should be, priced realistically, not optimistically.
That's right.
And so, and there is, the national statistics are, if you overprice a home and slowly walk down the price over time, you'll actually net less money.
Yep.
And the market's going to tell you right away if it's priced appropriately. If you're getting no showings, then obviously you're overpriced. If you're getting just a few showings, you have to check with your real estate agent to find out what is a normal volume of showings for that price range.
That's right.
And a good experienced agent will know that. The new agents will have no idea. Or the people that don't sell many homes will have no idea. Or if you're getting plenty of showings but no offers, then you're probably a little bit overpriced. And if you're getting offers, you're right on target. It's just a matter of getting the right terms that you want. Maybe you didn't like that buyer because they had a house to sell or whatever. So, but the market's going to tell you if you have 10 sets of buyers for your home, it's probably overpriced. I can tell you that something contrary happened to me last year. I had one client call. He was listed with one of those, low commission brokers that just said, hey, yeah, I'll take some phone, pictures on my phone, stick it in the MLS. This was a remodeled home. It was priced under $250,000, which in our market, we cannot keep up with the inventory for sure in the twos. And, across the summer, our busiest months, he had 100 showings with that discount broker and no offers. That's a lot of showings.
Yeah,
if you have more
kidding.
than 10 and you're not getting an offer, it could be price. But in this case, it was actually not so much price. So he called me, he goes, Barb, what am I doing wrong? And I said, well, let's start with the pictures. They don't look so great. The other thing was buyers have a hard time visualizing empty spaces as well as cluttered spaces. So this had a long, narrow living room and a breakfast bar, and it was pretty, but without furniture, the buyers didn't think it was a living room.
Wow. So
we inserted staging furniture. I changed the price. I just lowered it $2,000, and a week later, we got a contract for $10,000 over asking.
Wow. Oh, that's
and
awesome.
That buyer wasn't even competing with another buyer. They just didn't want to miss out on getting that home.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it could be a combination of things, and I was glad I fixed it. I'm on my third listing with that fix and flip investor right now.
Wow. So Barb, for our listeners, for the agents, for referrals, and things like that, can you give them your information on how they can reach out to you if they have somebody who's coming into the Colorado Springs area?
Sure. Yeah, you can call me anytime. My private cell is 719-499-3334, or you can email me at coloradobarb@gmail.com. And also go up and if you're interested in looking at the video stuff, go up on my YouTube channel. I think it's named The Colorado Barb. Just search for either Colorado Barb or Barb Schlinker, SCHLINKER. And, subscribe to my page. I'd be happy to share with you what I'm doing.
Awesome, Barb. Thank you so much. It was awesome having you. And thank you, listeners. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.